Hey everyone, today we have our very first makeup review of the year and we are going to be reviewing the new Lumi Le Glow tint from L'Oreal. This claims to be a skin tint which glows like an illuminator but covers like a foundation, and I thought it might be helpful to compare it with one of my other favourite skin tints which also comes from L'Oreal, which is the L'Oreal True Match Plumping Tinted Serum. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you now, and then we will move on to some footage where I compare these two. So I had to purchase this skin tint from the US because it's not available in Europe yet. So this retails for around $17, and for that you get 25 ml. Which is an unusual number. You usually get more than that, don't you? With the Plumping Tinted Serum, you get 30 ml. With this, you get 25, so that's very interesting. So shade-wise, there were 16 shades to choose from, and I really struggled. So I'll pop up the shades on the screen for you to have a look at. 200 neutral is what I went for. And I will say that this shade is not just too dark for me, it's actually too warm, despite it being a neutral shade. My other option would have been 120 neutral or 130 warm, which I do think would have been too light. So I'm an olive, but I have kind of muted warm undertone, so I generally go for a neutral if there's no olive shade. So let me just tell you a little bit about this. So it's healthy glow meets breathable coverage in a lightweight water-based skin tint. Reflective pearls, blurring pigments and 82% hydrated serum provide a healthy soft lit glow. With a weightless texture, the glow tint melts into the skin for a breathable second skin finish. Seamlessly evens for smoother looking skin and is suitable for all skin types. I will talk to you again about the ingredients a little bit later when I'm doing the comparison with the other L'Oreal skin tint, but this is actually alcohol free, it's fragrance free, and it's essential oil free. So I've nothing on my face apart from moisturizer. I don't have any concealer on under my eyes, and I won't be putting this on under my eyes either. I will be putting concealer on later on when I finish off my makeup. But we'll pop this on and we'll have a little look at how it looks before and how it looks after. So make sure that you are giving this a good shake. I don't think the shade is necessarily too dark. It's actually too warm, even though it's supposed to be a neutral. So there's 200. Before I start blending, you can see that my skin is in really poor condition at the moment. So lots of breakout. It's very, very dry. So my skin is normal to dry usually, but in the winter, it's very, very dry. And we've had very, very cold weather here in Ireland. So my skin is suffering. So this is as good a test as any for this skin tint. I'm just going to start by just blending that out with my BK Beauty 101 brush. I mean, it says that you can apply this with your fingers, you can apply this with a brush, with a sponge. It really is up to you. I think that if you applied it with a sponge, the sponge could just drink this up though. I'll just do one half and then you'll be able to see the difference. So this is the side with the skin tint. And here's the side without. So let me complete the rest of my face. I think that you might be able to tell that there is some oxidizing going on, and just by looking at my hand, can you see there is an ever so slight oxidizing of this skin tint. So here is my problematic areas, so where I've got breakouts on my cheeks, and I do think you get an okay amount of coverage with this. It covers like a very light foundation. Because of the finish of this skin tint, it kind of takes away from the coverage because the glow takes over, and I think it looks possibly too reflective, possibly. And you guys know I love glow. I love glowy products. They are my favorite. But there's just something a little bit too reflective in this foundation for me. It's a little bit Tin Manny. So it really does remind me of this Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin foundation stick. This has a very, very similar finish. I would say that this has less coverage, but if you liked this, then you will like this L'Oreal skin tint because it definitely gives you more coverage and it definitely gives you a glow that is not greasy looking. It's definitely more on the reflective side. So the best way that I can describe this skin tint to you is if this Plumping Tinted Serum and the Lumi Glotion had a baby. All right, so if you put these two together, this is what you would get. So if you enjoy wearing these two together, oh my gosh, you are going to absolutely love this. You are literally going to love it so much. So I am going to do the rest of my makeup in a moment, but I just wanted you to see me pop some concealer on so that you can see my under eyes done, because I think your under eyes can change your whole face. So I'm just going to pop a bit of color correction on my Bobbi Brown. And then I'm going to take my Fenty concealer. I have this in the shade 240N. So that's how it looks with some concealer on. And another thing that you can do is, if this is a little bit too reflective for you, so it would be for me, what I like to do with this is just bring a little bit of concealer here and just a little bit here, because it just takes the shine down and gives me just a little bit of extra coverage. And I'm just going to go in with my foundation brush. Now, when I'm comparing the skin tints, I won't be using any extra concealer, but this is how I make it more realistic to wear. So that's how it's looking with just a little bit of concealer on. I want to compare these skin tints for you, but I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup. I'm just going to pop a little bit of makeup on just so that you can see the skin tint as a whole. So I'll be back in a minute and then we'll compare these two skin tints. So let's have a little look at the skin. So in relation to the blemishes and the spots that I have, there's obviously not been much coverage of them. And even if there was coverage of the blemishes, this tint will still emphasize them because it's a glowy skin tint. So yeah, you might get a bit of coverage, but because it's glowy, it's going to highlight those areas. That's just inevitable. It's just going to happen. I am going to insert some footage close up of my complexion, and I can't help but feeling that around the pore area, and I felt like this every day that I've worn this, it doesn't look as smooth as what I would like it to. I think that it does kind of emphasize that area and look slightly heavy. It just doesn't look as smooth as what I would like it to. In terms of longevity, when I've worn this, it's been fine. It's been okay. It has faded quicker than some of the other tints that I'm used to using. And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed with this skin tint is it can get a little bit patchy, but I think that it depends on your skin. So my skin isn't the best right now, okay? So I'm struggling with it. I'm having a few issues, and I'm also suffering with quite dry skin. So I think that's probably the reason for this, because my skin is drier. The tint isn't sitting as well as it could do. So I think this is a good time as any to compare it to the Plumping Tinted Serum. So this is, I mean, one of my all-time favorite skin tints. I think it's absolutely stunning. So I am just going to insert some footage of me applying these two and then having a look at them side by side. In relation to application, I think they apply very, very similarly, because they are very, very similar in texture. So they're both very fluid, very runny, and I find that you do have to use a little bit more of each of these because they're tints. If you want a little bit more coverage, you are going to have to use a little bit more. However, if we now take a look at these tints side by side, I think the most obvious difference is that the Plumping Tinted Serum, so the original, is much more skin-like and it's much more natural on the skin. It doesn't have the reflection that the new Lumi Glow does. So I would say that although you do get more coverage with the Le Glow tint, it doesn't look, on me anyway, as flattering. And I think looking at the side by side, you can see that with the new Lumi Glow, you can see that my spots, my blemishes are just a little bit more emphasized because of the glowy nature of the product. It has emphasized those areas a little bit more than it has on the original Plumping Tinted Serum side. So if you want a natural looking skin tint, which is going to give you a nice coverage and it is going to last all day, I would stick with the L'Oreal Plumping Tinted Serum. So we have established that the Le Glow is much more illuminating than the natural finish of the original Plumping Tinted Serum. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you get 25ml in this one and you get 30ml in this, which is very, very interesting, but you obviously get less with the Le Glow tint. Now, I know a lot of people will want to know about the ingredients, so I'll pop the ingredients on the screen for you now. And I know some people have been unable to use this skin tint because of the denatured alcohol in there. Well, I guess that is the biggest difference. So this Lumi Glow has no alcohol, so it's fragrance free, essential oil free, and it's free from alcohol. So it's a great option for those people who've not been able to use the L'Oreal tint before. This is a step closer to that. So they both contain hyaluronic acid, but as far as I'm aware, this also contains niacinamide, but this one doesn't. And we have to address a major positive, a major improvement with the new skin tint is this. It's the applicator, it's the pump. We have a pump, people, we have a pump. Whereas the dropper with the Plumping Tinted Serum drives everyone insane. This is much better. I mean, please make this with a pump, please. And I'll just show you a difference in the two shades that I have. So at the top there is the original L'Oreal Plumping Tinted Serum, and that's in the shade 3 to 4. And I think you'll agree that it's much more neutral than what the Lumi Glow is. So this is the Lumi Glow in the shade 200, which claims to be neutral. But I think that I do think the shades are much better in the original serum in this serum. So I think if I was to just summarize my feelings on this foundation and take you through the positives and negatives. So I think the positives, it gives you a really nice amount of coverage, much more than some of the other skin tints that I have been used to using, and definitely much more than the Plumping Tinted Serum. I think it gives you a beautiful glow. It really does do what it says it's going to, and it illuminates your skin. Your skin looks so pearlescent and pretty. I think a major positive is the fact that they've got rid of the denatured alcohol in there. It's fragrance free. There's no essential oils in there, which I think is wonderful. And a lot of people love having those skincare ingredients in their foundations, in their skin tints, such as the hyaluronic acid and the niacinamide. So really, really nice. Unfortunately, on this occasion, the negatives outweigh the positives, but this is very, very personal, and I really want you to remember that, because I have very dry skin at the moment. I have problematic skin, so I have lots of spots and blemishes. This skin tint is not a miracle worker, okay? Even the best foundation isn't really going to help this skin, all right? So we have to be fair. And I think because of the illuminating nature of this skin tint, it is going to emphasize those areas that are causing me hassle right now. Another negative for me would be the oxidizing. Again, I don't know whether that's in my head or not. You'll have to let me know what you thought. I don't think it lasts as well as this serum. I think that it does fade throughout the day, and not only that, it tends to get a little bit patchy. And I guess the only other negative would be that you get 5ml less product than you do with this, so it's a little bit cheeky. I have definitely learned not to judge something in your first few weeks of testing. I will come back to this, and the time when I have very high hopes for this will be in the summertime, because I'm much more hydrated in the summer. So I'm thinking that by going back to this then, I may have more success. At the moment, I don't love it, but I don't hate it, okay? It's fine. But I think if you were thinking that this is just this but a little bit glowier, I think you'd be disappointed. It's not glowier, it's super reflective and it's not for everybody. So please do let me know if you've tried this new tint or if you've tried both of the L'Oreal skin tints and what you think of them. I would love to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.